They're at the sides, and Racing have a list of absentees that could combine to compete favourably with any team in Europe. Yet that lineup oozes class. Scrum half Maxime Machinot made his France debut in Argentina in June. He may prove one of the signings of the summer. Ducalcon, Charchevsky and Brugnot is an all-France international front row. Former Brive halfback Machiavelli is among the replacements. Freddie Michalak's role for Toulon today is as water boy. Johnny Wilkinson continues at fly half. The World Cup winner's halfback partner is Nicolas Durand, who makes a swift return to the club he left in the summer. The unfamiliar name to you may be the teenager Vincent Martin, who has played most of his rugby at fly half, impressed at fullback for France in the recent Junior World Championship, but is selected here on the wing. Jenkins, Momoz, Heyman. It's not a bad bench, is it? Well, there is the scene at Toulon, and just to cover that point about the checkbooks, which do matter so much in modern professional rugby these days, despite their great histories. These two rugby clubs, Racing Metro and Toulon, they are part of that nouveau riche, aren't they?
They are indeed. They bought in a lot of players. It's almost like when you look at the Toulon team, it's like a vintage chess set with some of the heads in there, with like Sebastian Bruno still going, and Simon Shaw, of course, at 38, still ploughing away very, very strongly. But the thing about that is, when you buy in a team, it's very difficult to create a culture, and a culture of winning. And over time, this Toulon team has been put together by Bleu Lejal over the last few years, and they've more and more melded together and come together and come very close, obviously getting in the final last year, and they're a common fixture in that top four.
Led out by Joe van Niekerk. Full of speculation last season that van Niekerk might have been moving on at the end of last season, but he has signed a new deal, and he's leading out the Galacticos. There's Sebastian Bruno, Andrew Sheridan, one of the new names, Bakis Buata, David Kobriashvili. There's Nicolas Durand, who knows this walk so well. A couple of steps down along the tunnel. There's Chris Marceau, his first trip up to Paris as a Toulon player. They then run out across the running track, and Jacques Cronje, himself a Springbok international, 32 caps for South Africa, and behind him one of 4 men in the starting lineup for Racing Metro today who are making their home debuts. Dimitri Charchevsky, his front row partner Luc Ducalcon. Just behind Julien Brugnot, the 3 men in the front row towards the front. It's the start of the top 14 season in Paris.
Always interesting to see that battle between the back rowers, Van Niekerk and Cronje. Always, and Bakis Buata, of course, in there. A few South Africans like to rough each other up a little bit, and hopefully we see a bit of that today and get this game off to a great start.
Well, there is Bakis Buata, who went to the World Cup a year or so ago, and as has been the problem over the course of the last 18 months or so for Bakis Buata, he went there with an injury and didn't play a full part. The referee, Mathieu Reynal, he also took charge when the sides met in the barrage round in May. That match won by Toulon by 17 points to 13, but that after Racing Metro, the visitors, of course, on that occasion, had led by 13 points to 3 at half-time. Here is Johnny Wilkinson, the hero yet again a week ago down at the M.A. Giral, where he kicked Toulon the victory against Perpignan. Both these sides winners on the road a week ago, but significantly, both sides did it without scoring a try. Out from the scrum of Maxime Machinot, swinging it across the line there to Chavancy. Here's Bakatawa. What a robust fella he is, and Alexis Palisson certainly felt that.
And good start there by Racing. Sometimes you wonder, though, are you better off just clearing your lines earlier on? So from the kickoff, just get it out of dodge, clear your lines, get into opposition territory. But here, they seem to be just feeling each other out. And good start, but look at that territory compared to Wisniewski sending the 50 metres up the pitch.
Bruno, the two-handed take coming that time from Simon Shaw. The sun shining in the French capital. And there is the first penalty.
And that's what you get. You see, you're better off settling the ship early in a game. Clear your lines, get down into opposition territory, and you don't encounter problems like this. And that's from overplaying earlier on in a game. You don't mind ambition, but you also want players to play clever.
Ouais, c'est bon.
Well, Tommy Wilkinson kicking all 21 points down at the MA Girard a week ago. 6 penalties and a drop goal. And this is a very nice way to get started. 30-odd metres, just a little to the left. Already this week, Wilkinson will have kicked dozens and dozens of balls off the kicking tee. There simply is no more committed professional in the rugby game. He's rehearsed it so many times.
And that's what happens. You take risks and sometimes you pay the price. And hopefully for Racing they've learned not to do this in the opening stages of games, because it gives the mental strength back over to Toulon, and their confidence will be strong.
Repeated infringements were a problem last week down at Agen for Racing Metro. 3 of their players received yellow cards, so they know they have to come here and not do the same, but just 2 minutes into the match, they've already conceded their first kickable penalty. There's Gaëtan Germain, the fullback. Machinot, out to Sharshevsky. On to Estebanez. Estebanez, who joined the club from Brive at the start of last season. That's a poor pass. Snapped up by Bruno. There's Sheridan with the ball in hand. Who by all accounts had a great first game now at the MA Girard, dominating his side of the scrum. But Toulon going off their feet.
The back carry there by Andrew Sheridan, just taking too much out of it. Slowed down that fast ball. And Nicolas Durand would not be happy with him there, giving the advantage back over to the Racing.
Well, there's the kick from Wisniewski, and it was a little too ambitious. Doesn't find touch, and that's comfortable for Dylan Armitage.
And that's how you do it. You clear your lines when you're under pressure, put all the pressure back on the opposition. And Racing have paid the price in these early stages.
Well, the band playing on a glorious late summer's afternoon in the French capital. Toulon now have a 3-point lead. Sharshevsky finds Van der Merwe. Van der Merwe, who's lost his old schoolmate. Frans Steen, like Van der Merwe, a product of Grey College in Bloemfontein. There's Vakatawa, who's really making his presence felt early on. That was Machinot finding support. Ducalcon it was. There's Sharshevsky. Sharshevsky, the most experienced France international on the tour to Argentina in June. That's Van der Merwe again. The tackling at the moment from Toulon, ferocious and fast. There's Machinot, who made his France debut in the second test against Argentina. Long wait for that one. And coming straight through was Batu. No touch found. There's Germain. Finds Sobat. Double tackle, Joe van Niekerk in there. Picked up by Sharshevsky. Racing certainly finding their feet. Out from Cronier to Ducalcon. Change of direction from Machinot. Wisniewski pops it up to Van der Merwe. Stefan Armitage tries to get him down, does so on the 22. Here's Vakatawa. Through one tackle, through 2 tackles. 3 Toulon men couldn't take him down. Referee playing advantage here to Racing, so the penalty is coming. Machinot, Wisniewski, there's the cross kick. Can it find the man? No, it can't. But it will be the penalty to Racing Metro.
And what a carry by Vakatawa. He's been impressive from day one. Good strength, getting his arms free, looking for the offload, and just great leg strength. And he's got his team in a good position here. Be interesting to see, do they go for the corner or the point? And they've put the challenge over to Wisniewski.
There certainly is a default setting in France, isn't there? I know it's early on in the game, so perhaps wherever you are in Europe, you may be looking for the 3 points here, but they certainly do tend to err on the side of conservatism. And as I mentioned a bit earlier, both these sides winning on the road last week as Francois van der Merwe gets some treatment. They both won on the road, but both sides failed to score a try. That won't concern them, certainly away from home. There is Wisniewski, who was a top point scorer after the league phase of the top 14 a couple of seasons ago, when he went in excess of 300 points. He had 1 or 2 injury problems through January and February last year. Wisniewski, such a beautiful striker of the ball, and he ties things up.
Sure is, and very difficult angle. And again, we see just the great work. Racing, and they tried and they tried, and they started off with Vakatawa, starting off that move way back at halfway, way behind the advantage line, and he did fantastically well, and he was the man that earned that 3 points for his team.
And there he is, Beremy Vakatawa, still just 20, would you believe? Good hanging restart from Wilkinson, well gathered though by van der Merwe. That's Matadigo going forward. Matadigo, another of those players having his first start at home for Racing Metro. There's Cronje holding the ball in one hand, looking for the offload. Well, it's been stolen. Good work there from Stefan Armitage. Back from Durand to Bastereau, popping it up to Joe van Niekerk. But look at the way Racing compete for it. Scoop back by Bastereau. Marceau getting caught. Bruno with the attempt at the fly hack. Comes into the hands of Brugnot. Machinot looking up, sees some space.
Now that's much better. You play smart rugby. And that ground, in past, they would have gone through 20 phases to make that much ground. It's fantastic work. And here we just see the steal by Stefan Armitage, absolutely brilliant at that. He's a poacher extraordinaire. And a good hit by Batut there as well. But clever play. Just get down there, put all the pressure back on Toulon.
Stefan Armitage has obviously had a worrying few weeks since that failed drugs test taken after the top 14 final in June. But if we look back over the last 2 seasons, certainly last year, I mean, Armitage was he was the player in the top 14 after his move from London Irish. Really made an impact in his first season in France. The ball being held there in the tackle, so penalty to Toulon. Georgievski for a moment, a little bit concerning, but he's up.
And just a note on Stefan Armitage there, he's brought the family with him as well, and he's been like the scout that's gone out and found good territory, and has opened the doors for his 2 brothers, Dylan and Guy, to come along.
Yes, it would be rather unkind to call it the buy 2 and get 1 free deal, because I'm sure Guy Armitage has been attracted with a view to his future potential. Unlikely perhaps to see him playing in the top flight this season, but Dylan Armitage at fullback, he slotted in seamlessly at fullback. And Stefan, who really had a marvellous first season. When you think that he was called in to replace George Smith, wasn't he? And he has been, I think, in every respect, an improvement on George Smith, which is saying something.
And Guy Armitage will learn so much here.
Van Van der Merwe. The tackle from Marceau. Here's Machinot. Machinot made his debut in that second test match over in Argentina after France had lost the first one. His half-back partner there, Freddie Michelin, who was the 24th man today for Toulon. I expect to see him bringing on the water at some point.
Yeah, and that's one expensive water boy. But fantastic return kick there by Dylan Armitage, showing exactly why he's here. Takes this, no pressure, steadies himself. Perfect technique. Nothing better for a forward to turn around and see that.
Yes, I was going to make the point that Mourad Boudjelal can afford expensive water boys. He can probably afford the best water as well. Here's Sharshevsky. Goes short. It's Van der Merwe. Flip back to Sharshevsky. Rehearse move. Here's Batu. Batu learned his rugby in the Toulouse Academy. Matadigo in midfield. Here's Ducalcon. Penalty again against Racing Metro for failing to release in the contact.
Just really bad ball placement there and falling really bad. A player just taking a step too far, and that's what happens. And in this case, just falling badly, leaving himself wide open to the poach after some great work by his teammates. Very frustrating when that happens. But Matadigo, he's been fantastic, and he's a great signing and a huge loss to Montpellier. He's a great ball carrier, and something that the team needs. They need that extra ball carrier, and he is the man. He's a workhorse, and he's fantastic. A man to watch today.
Yes, Matadigo, who fans of Saracens might remember making a couple of appearances for Saracens a few years ago in the Premiership. But he certainly established himself at Montpellier.
You often see that line-out option when there's no options or the throw to the front. What teams try to do is create an easy pass for the scrum half, so you often see the down and give to the hooker who passes to the 9, and then the pass is easier for the 9. If the 9 has to pass from that 5-metre channel out to a 10, it leaves it very, very open for the likes of Stefan Armitage or a very fast 7 to get right up in the 10's face, and that's why you see that combination often from a line-out to 2.
There is Maxime Machinot, summer arrival from Agen. Replacing, of course, the departing Nicolas Durand. Durand, who's his opposite number today. That's the halfway line. And there is Machinot, popping it up to Van der Merwe, who's got through an awful lot of ball-carrying duties so far. Wisniewski, change of direction from Estebanez. Chamoncy to Batu. There's the offload to Germain in the line. Up to Vakatawa. Vakatawa, the chip ahead. Can he get there? Vakatawa, he can! That is superb. What an impact this man has made in the first 15 minutes.
What a fantastic try. It's shown everything there, from the switch from Wisniewski and the handling thereafter between centres to Batu. Great offload, and Vakatawa, we talked about him. He's the man to watch. Look at this for a great handle. Batu. And then watch this man chip and chase. Look at this. Absolutely fantastic.
I think it's fair to say he's learned a bit off Sorelli Bombo. Bombo not available here. The sort of thing you'd expect of that particular Fijian. Varimi Vakatawa, just 20. What a prospect.
What a find as well. What a find for Racing. That chip, absolutely seamless off the boot. Almost like an extension. And then he catches it on the fly and finishes in style.
Well, it's been a fairly troubled year or so with the Racing Metro Club. 1 or 2 departures. I think 1 or 2 almost innocent victims. I think of the likes of Simon Mannix, who is now back in business at Munster. But he used to rave about Vakatawa as Wisniewski makes it a 7-point score. And there is just a sense in little moments like that that Racing Metro are back in the groove and starting to produce the rugby which took them so close to a top 14 title 2 seasons ago.
And Gaetan, even the poor pass by Gaetan out to Vakatawa, but he does well because that's just taken away precious seconds for him. And really a huge prospect, and I'm sure a lot of teams in France will be looking at him.
Well, there's Matadigo.
Derrière.
Machinot.
Plaqueur, sortez.
Batu. Back from Machinot. To Estebanez. Estebanez, a France international at both codes. In fact, he's still represented France more times as a rugby league international than a union one. In his second season after coming up from Brie. Teammate Alexis Palisson playing Toulon today.
We see it there again, Martin. Actually, Racing just taking that extra bit too much out of the ball. Antoine Batu taking the ball, running to 3 players, where he's actually very, very liable to turn that ball over, instead of just giving it to Estebanez to clear his lines in the first instance, and perhaps Batu run a dummy line and put it behind him.
5 bleus, en travers. C'est bon, c'est bon.
Well, it's Francois van der Merwe who's been penalised this time. Yes, we talk about the blend at Toulon, don't we? Amazing to think there's a 37-year-old, Sebastian Bruno. He's, in fact, he's 38 tomorrow. And Simon Shaw, who turns 39 very shortly.
Are you talking about the vintage chess piece again?
Ouais, t'as bien fait.
It's like a comic book collection here. Some classic pieces and some up-and-coming beauties.
On reste concentré sur le jeu. Je lui ai dit, on
And
reste
perhaps one or
concentré sur
two
le
are
jeu.
also there to sell 1 or 2 season tickets. But it really is a World 15 in another name. Durant. Wilkinson missing out Bastereau. What a line that's been run. And there is Gitto. That was imperious.
Beautiful blocker line there. And Bastereau just not overrunning. If he took an extra step, he could have been accused of crossing. Absolutely perfect. Textbook try straight off the training pitch. And Palisson at the end. Here we go. Dummy line. Blocker. Straight into the space, and then totally unselfishly gives the offload, and Gitto under the sticks.
Yes, the role there of Alexis Palisson. We just mentioned him as a former teammate of Fabrice Estebanez. He was a vital cog in that.
Often the guy who runs that blocker line, which is what Bastereau did in this case, doesn't get any credit, but his role there is absolutely essential, because he took 2 players out and created all that space for Palisson, and beautiful offload for Gitto.
So 10 points apiece. 2 sides in form. And now they've scored a try each as well. Armitage with a long clearance. Superbly judged.
How good is that, Martin? That's what you want to see, and that's what we're saying that Racing don't do. Yes, it's 10 points apiece, but Racing have worked so much harder in this game to get those 10 points. And that's what you do. You just clear your lines. Absolute textbook. Dylan Armitage up on the opposition 22 from his own 22.
You can see the wind there blowing through the shirt of the referee, Mathieu Renard. See Machinot just confirming the calls. Well, it's a free kick to Racing Metro. Monsieur Renard is running out of patience with Toulon.
Non, c'est pas bon. On est en dehors des 22, je vous dis.
Here's Batu. A tackle from Bruno. Van der Merwe with another carry. Can't find Ducalcon. Stefan Armitage once again getting in the way. Taken forward by Sheridan. There's Toulon to Marceau. Marceau, who really has been week in, week out, one of the men of the top 14 ever since he arrived 4 years ago. First 4 seasons at Castres, now at Toulon, but the ball being turned there by Racing Metro. Here's Sharshevsky, just being repelled by Bucky's Buerta. Penalty to Racing.
You just see it again from Racing, just taking that little bit too much out of the carry every single time, and turnovers coming as a result. An offload there, just not needed. Just settle the ship. Good carry by Toot, good offload, and then the second offload that just wasn't needed. And it's that little bit of over-exuberance that's Racing are the ones behind in this game. Toulon doing a lot less work for a lot more return.
On attend.
It's Chris Marceau who's just down on one knee for a moment. Look at that. He's going to have to go off, isn't he?
No.
Get himself patched up. Well, he's not leaving the field at the moment.
And you don't see Chris Marceau turned over too often. He might have released the ball and getting a bang in the head. There we see that ball. One of the essential things with ball carrying is actually to fall correctly and to be able to give the ball seamlessly back for your 9 to give a good pass. And Racing getting caught in those awkward body positions a lot today and leading to those turnovers.
And also see Mathieu Bastereau getting a bit of chiropractic work. Pierrick Gunther comes on. Machinot. Wisniewski. Estebanez. The pass to no one. Lacatoa. Just keeping the ball infield, but then eventually the flag being raised. That was a little untidy from Racing.
Lacatoa is good, but he's not that good. Very tight space for him to work with, and he still tried to get out of dodge, but he kept the ball in, but the next player in just kicked it into touch. This should be a Toulon line out.
Well, we saw Mathieu Bastereau just getting... well, there's Julien Candelon, who you'd have seen him play for Perpignan for a few seasons, who have now left the Catalans, having taken a sevens contract to play with France. Just popping along here to see a bit of the 15 stuff. Forward goes Armitage. Wilkinson. Here's Giteau, the try scorer. Feeding it inside to Armitage. Wilkinson again, but the ball went forward.
Well, Racing, we've seen it from Racing, and we've seen it there from Johnny Wilkinson. Totally uncharacteristic of him. But what a great switch by Dylan Armitage. Stepping back in and then taking the outside step again. Here you go. Makito switch. Look at this step here. That's essential to get that offload. And Johnny Wilkinson just guilty of not getting that ball into the two hands where it's safer.
We have seen some sublime stuff, haven't we, from Toulon? One bringing a try, and that one, well, it came pretty close. 10 points apiece. We've been going 24 minutes in Cologne. Early engagement there from Racing. Van Niekerk. Poor pass out to Bastereau. Bastereau to Wilkinson. There's Vincent Martin, the youngster. Or Martin, I should say. Van Niekerk getting dumped. That's Kubriashvili. Change of direction from Durand to Bastereau. He almost fell off his own feet, or over his own feet that time, to Martin.
And just slightly off balance, leading to the forward pass. But a great tackle. I think it was Szarzewski dumping Van Niekerk. Quite embarrassing when that happens. You just get caught off balance and a player just picks you up. Sometimes it's because of a bad pass from a scrum half or from whoever the passer is. Also known as a hospital pass.
Flexion! Touché. Non. Les deux.
Well, we talk about the big spenders in French rugby, and if we have a league table for that, according to the provisional numbers, the overall budgets, which have been leaked to one newspaper in France, Toulon at the moment, they're lying in 4th place, 21.8 million euros. That's the overall budget for the Toulon club, going through 20 million for the first time in their history.
Touché.
Racing Metro actually spending 0.7 million euros less this season. What a shove there from the Toulon pack.
So the recession hasn't escaped the Racing. 0.7 million left. Of course, Chabal has left, of course.
Well, I was going to say, that is not all of Sébastien Chabal's annual contract, I think. Certainly in terms of contracts, they lost a couple of high maintenance individuals, and that's a double entendre where Chabal is concerned, but in El Nale as well, who moved on to Lyon. He'll have cost a few bob.
Yeah, and that frees up the budget. And sometimes when a player gets to a stage where you kind of go, would I be better off bringing a younger player through from the academy to replace a player that maybe is coming off the bench and just making it every so often playing a cameo role, that it makes more financial sense. And clubs are businesses. Yes, they can be bankrolled, but they are businesses.
So Wilkinson to take Toulon in front. And there's no mistake. It's 13 points to 10. I'm not sure if they're locally based Toulon fans. Their old trip down to the Mediterranean coast.
And just again, just an example of the difference in the work, the amount of work they have to put in for return, and Racing just putting in so much more, over carrying, making little errors, while Racing are that little bit more clinical, or Toulon that more clinical, and getting their points a little bit easier, which will pay dividends in the last 20 minutes of a game.
The kick there from Durand, but directly into touch from the scrum half. There from Batu on the Toulon 22. Czarszewski pops it up to Vakatawa, coming off his wing. Taken on by Van der Merwe. There's Brugno. Brugno spent one rather unsuccessful season at Munster. Popped up by Cronier to Van der Merwe again. Yet another carry from the lock forward. Great run from Czarszewski, the ball dislodged, picked up by Machinot. There's Ducalcan. But it's turned over. Fed back by the two props to Durand. Back scuttles Gaëtan Germain.
Sortez! Sortez!
Vite Johnny! Vite Johnny!
Armitage back to Wilkinson. Taken back into the 22. Oh, and he landed it just inside the touchline.
And how heartbreaking is that for Racing? So much good work. Swarovski, great carry. Vakatawa working hard again. Here we see Swarovski skipping, pumping the legs through, going for the space. And that worked out okay for him. But just a little bit a case of Racing running out of luck and a turnover popping up, and look where they are. Can really eat at your confidence, that, Martin, when you've worked really, really hard and you find yourself back defending.
You saw how that kick there from Wilkinson carried on the wind. Here's Cronier.
Non.
Luc Ducalcon. Ducalcon having made the brave move to leave Castres, although the rumours are that Ducalcon will be joined by his two former coaches in a season's time. Les deux Laurent Labitte, Laurent Travers, understood to have already agreed to move up to Racing Metro next season. Their contracts at Castres are up in June. Penalty to Racing Metro. There's Machinot. Oh, up to Chavancy, but straight into his chest. But they haven't retreated.
Paniker putting himself around. That time running out of luck. But putting a huge hit on Cronier earlier on. We mentioned it before the game. And that's almost a bit of bragging rights when they eventually meet for a few drinks back in South Africa when Hull's retired. The boots are hung up. But he's running out of luck there, and he got caught in a bad position. Often when you make a big hit like that and you fall into a mass of bodies, it's very, very hard to get out. And Joe Van Niekerk tried to show the referee that he was trying, but he'd done it twice in a row, and the ref wasn't having any of the second one.
Well, Wisniewski has set up the line out on the Toulon 22. 8.5 minutes to go to half-time in Toulon. Toulon, for those of you who don't know your geography, northwest suburbs of Paris. Not too far away from the Défense district, which is where Jackie Lorenzetti, the owner of Racing Metro, has promised this new stadium. Plans have been approved. Presented there by Mastadigo. Here's Machinot. Up to Cronier.
No cover, no cover!
Well, there was a little nudge forward. I think it was from the scrum half, Machinot.
It's that thing we mentioned earlier on, Martin, your ball placement, and that was a lazy ball placement for a 9. The best thing is to actually push that ball, keeping two hands on it where it's on a platter for him, and you don't get mistakes like that.
Well, a pause for one or two of these players to take a bit of a breather. 13 points to 10, the visitors lead. Toulon, having beaten Racing Metro on 3 occasions last season, home and away in the league phase, and then in the match de barrage, the match at Mayol. Well, Toulon came back from a 10-point deficit at half-time. All sorts of stories about possible recruitment coming out of Toulon at the moment. Rocky Elson, Heineken Cup winner with Leinster. He was spotted down at the Toulon training ground on Thursday. So he might be linking up in the Rouge et Noir very shortly. One signing we certainly know about is Dion Ferry, the Western Province captain, who's joining Toulon after the end of the Currie Cup. Well, Racing have worked their way to a penalty. Chance here to tie things up with half-time in sight.
Very hard there, breaking your bind as a back rower, because when the scrum wheels like that, you're very, very vulnerable. And Jack Cronier could have really broke here. We'll see in the replay. Look at all the space he has here on the right to pick. An 8-9 down the blind side. Surprised he didn't go. Look at that. The floodgate was wide open for him. He had only a winger to beat with a 9 in support. Surprised at Jack Cronier in that situation. Maybe he's happy to take 3.
I certainly know a couple of seasons ago that these two sides within the top 14 community had the reputation for being the most powerful scrummagers in the league. And I suppose if you look at this Racing Metro front row now, Ducalcon on the tight head side, Brugnot on the loose head side, Jarszewski between them, all 3 France internationals. I understand perhaps that Racing Metro have stepped themselves up a gear as Wisniewski slots the penalty, tied up at 13 points apiece.
It sure is, but it's Racing that has expended the more energy. And certainly looking at the second half from here, Toulon will be more fresh in that second half. Certainly been an interesting last 20 minutes of this game.
Another good restart from Wilkinson, going deep that time, and so bad it is who spills it. There could be problems here. The red and black jerseys getting there swiftly, but so too are those in the sky blue and white hoops. But the mistake there's so bad, and we saw
strong like that, the ball's bubbling around. I may be giving them an excuse here, but certainly you should. 13 apiece going into half-time with the mental win of a score or even a near score at this stage makes it.
At this level from restarts. So a tremendous Wilkinson, jinking, stepping out, Gitto on his left shoulder. There's Gunther. The scrum half Toulon getting tied in. They need somebody to... 3 minutes to go to half-time. Oh, and it's been stolen by Van der Merwe. Here's Ducalcon. He's got Germain outside him. There's Gaëtan Germain. The referee has seen a forward ball going forward, a knock on. But that was good counting, Metro.
High-risk strategy again, almost paying off on this occasion. Ducalcon does pretty well though. And just pity it wasn't Vakatawa. And there, he was the man you needed right there after his fantastic try earlier on in the opening stage of this game.
But in terms of work rate, he's been noted to touch Francois Van der Merwe today, certainly not for Racing Metro. He's been everywhere, he was responsible for that. He seems a little puzzled, and in all honesty, so are we. His career, but Wisniewski went down before he got the ball. It looked as if he'd been pushed or tripped, and I suspect that is why Dylan Armitage has been shown yellow. Well, they got a penalty, obviously, as you can see. Wisniewski to Estebanez. Here's Vakatawa, the try scorer. Been turned, though. More great
world. Centre of gravity so low, he's so strong in those low positions, and it's why you see Toulon often using him off the back of a scrum, because a bigger number 8 has to dip into that to pick and go. But Stefan Armitage, and we see there the Wisniewski trip and Dylan Armitage, and you're right there, Martin, that's exactly why he's got a yellow card. Well spotted by the touch judge or the referee, whoever it was. But he's put himself under, put the team under a lot of pressure coming into that second half with 14 men.
Well, they are going to get something like the first 7 minutes and maybe a few more seconds of that second half with a one-man advantage at Racing Metro. They've got themselves a penalty. And Nicolas Durand cannot expect a particularly warm welcome here. There were one or two problems behind the scenes last season. Senior players went to the owner Jackie Lorenzetti, demanded the removal of the man in charge, and Nicolas Durand was certainly at the heart of that. Of course, at the end of the season, Pierre Bavizier, who was the head coach, has been moved upstairs as Wisniewski. Well, he's pulled it wide, and for a kicker of his quality, that's a bad miss. The hooter goes. Toulon will be down to 14 men for something like the first 7.5 minutes. Bernard Laporte is waiting for them, and it's 13 points apiece at half-time at Toulon. to Toulon. It's half-time in the top 14 match between Racing Metro and Toulon. 13 points apiece. I'm Martin Gillingham, alongside me Aidan McCullen. I suppose the first seven and a half minutes or so of this second half are going to be crucial for particularly Racing Metro. They're going to have the one-man advantage. Dylan Armitage off after that trip on Jonathan Wisniewski. They have to take advantage of that period, don't they?
They sure do, and they've gone through some great periods in this game of attack, and it's just at the last few moments they turn over the ball, just lack of concentration, bad ball placement for the scrum half, and we see turnovers time and time again. And if they can just get away, they'll take off. But Toulon, in stark contrast, have scored tries really easily. We saw that blocker move that Palisson putting Guito under the posts, and that was a lot less work for Toulon in comparison to Racing having to work so hard.
Yes, I was going to make that point. You get a sense that 13 points apiece, but Racing have had to work that bit much more hard for those 13 points in the first 40.
Yeah, and that's wear and tear throughout the game, and towards the second half and coming into the closing moments, the last 20 of a game, that takes its toll and can often lead to a victory for the other side.
So it's half-time at Toulon. Racing Metro 13, Toulon 13. The second half coming up in a couple of moments' time. Well, welcome back to Toulon. Just looking at one or two highlights from the first half, and this really was the sublime moment, wasn't it? The Toulon try, finished off by Matt Guito. There you can see Veremi Vakatawa getting the first try for Racing Metro. Matt Guito responding just 4 minutes later. The balance coming from the boot of Wisniewski and Wilkinson. It's all tied up, but significantly, Aidan, we're going to have the first 7 minutes or so. Toulon still down to 14 with Dylan Armitage in the sin bin.
Very difficult coming out in the second half after a coach settling the troops and telling them what things to focus on, what they're doing well, what they're not doing well, and coming out all guns blazing into the second half and having 14 men to deal with that. And we just felt in the last minutes Ras coming back into the ascendancy. Perhaps that Dylan Armitage may be the break they need to try and turn that territory and that amount of possession into points.
And turning to use an old cliche, the top 14 is more of a marathon than a sprint, and we're only round 2 of 26 matches before we get to the barrage and the whole playoff phase. But here are two sides, big spenders, deep squads. Racing Metro, Toulon, both will have aspirations in Europe. Both are playing in the Heineken Cup, but the top 14 in many respects to these two clubs is what matters most. You have to think these are going to be two sides who are going to be contesting the playoffs.
They sure are, and they've replaced teams like stalwarts that were always there, like the Biarritz and the Perpignan, and they've gone then further down the ranks, and these two guys are up there with Stade Toulousain, with Clermont Auvergne, and with teams like that, and they're the top 4 teams of this top 14 that we see more and more regularly, and surely we'll see these in the barrage and the knockout stages.
Well, here they are coming out. The Toulon side, Simon Shaw just behind Stefan Armitage. Bernard Laporte, the general manager these days at Toulon. There is Fabrice Estebanez coming out. Gaëtan Germain, the fullback, one of the youngsters, just 22. But it really is a star at every turn. 13 points apiece. Vakatawa, a piece of sublime individual brilliance for the opening try for Racing Metro, but then a move straight off the training ground from Toulon. Alexis Palisson providing the final pass to Matt Guito. There's Jonathan Wisniewski, who came so close to earning his first cap for France last November when we had Francois Tranduc injured, and Wisniewski picked up an injury himself, so didn't get to play in one of the autumn internationals. He seemed like a shoo-in at the time, but I think it's fair to say Dara slipped a little bit, Jonathan Wisniewski. Not even guaranteed of starting for his club these days with Juan Martin Hernandez down at the moment in Argentina, although Hernandez won't be playing in tonight's match in the Rugby Championship. Picked an injury in the week. Carl Heyman He's on in the front row for Toulon, presumably replacing David Kubriashvili. And there we are, the restart, gathered by Bourta, Sheridan, Durand, Wilkinson changing direction, keeping things tight, mindful of the fact they're still down to 14. Durand. Van Nico, the captain.
C'est bon, jouez.
Avec Antoine.
Good turn by Racing. I think it has. Good work. There's Machinot. Out to Wisniewski. Van der Merwe did well to gather that. It came at him very hard. The ball's been lost forward. Here's Wilkinson.
Jouez, c'est derrière.
Referee says it's fine. The ball's gone backwards.
Avantage terminé.
Over. Durand with a clearance kick. Germain slipping. Still managing to evade Czarszewski. That's the halfway line. Machinot. Out there's Matadigo looking for the offload. He had it in one hand, but thought better of it. Wisniewski to Benez. Julien Saubin has got real pace. Through one tackle. Taken there by former teammate Durand. Wisniewski again, Batu, basketball style, and Dugalcon can't find Czarszewski. Came at the hooker a little too quickly.
Quel dommage, as they say over here. Some great play there. Some great interplay, and I was going to say Racing again guilty, and I don't understand this at all, Martin. Why would you overplay a ball when you have a man in the bin? And from the great take from that kickoff, from the opening kickoff of this second half, Baki Spoda, perfect take, perfect ball placement, just get that ball down into opposition territory, and they did that really, really well. And ironically, it was Glenn Armitage that kicked those kicks, and he's missing in this second half. So why would you put yourself under all that pressure? And they eventually turned the ball over and put themselves under extreme pressure, and that led to this fantastic movement, which eventually broke down by Racing.
Disappointing moment there for Vincent Martin, the youngster, just 19. Missing the tackle there also. I think that Martin, half the age of that fella, Sebastian Bruno. Same, of course, can be said of Simon Shaw. Shaw turns 39 next week.
Flexion.
It's a week today, isn't it? 1st of September.
Touché. Je.
So Toulon through the first 2.5 minutes until now, without conceding a point. There will be a penalty here, Andrew Sheridan.
The tide is turning, Martin. That's the first easy points that have been handed over to Racing. That is if Wisniewski knocks this one over. Certainly easier than some of the earlier kicks he took. And Andrew Sheridan just putting his hand down here, the elbow touching the ground. And the referee judging that one to be a penalty.
Sheridan against Dugalcon. Luc Dugalcon, who, were it not for men like Nicolas Mas and now David R02, I'm sure would have earned many more international caps. Germain has the kicking duties. No mistake from the fullback. Racing are in front.
Wonder why he passed that one over. Wisniewski might be carrying a little injury, or just decided after missing the last one, pass it over, let someone else take the baton.
Well, there were times last season when Germain did have first preference on the kicks, but hasn't been the case yet. Going across field, change of direction provided by Chavancy. There's Wisniewski. Well, he appears okay, doesn't he, the fly half? So that will remain something of a mystery. That's a terrific kick. Forcing Durand down to his own corner, and I think it would be fair to say that that one wasn't quite out the middle.
And their difference, we talked about it many times throughout this game. do not overplay it in your own half, and that's what you get. That is fantastic exit play. Antoine Batout taking the kick off, great switch. And Wisniewski, look at this kick, right down into enemy territory. And although he doesn't get it out there, the pressure, the follow-up, makes him kick it out. And you have a line out on a 22.
Czajewski goes long. That was to Batout.
Derrière.
Machinot just urging Batout to move into position. There he is, the loose forward. Through the first line of defence. Machinot took 2 grabs at Kevin Gazal. Machinot to Vizzy. Estebanez. Chavancy. Couldn't get it away. Palisson nudged it forward.
Just a pity, isn't it? Just that last pass, just forcing it. But I have to say, Antoine Batout showing his formation that he went through in Toulouse. Some great interplay by him, and he led to all this. But just forcing that pass, no need for it. Just set it up and start again.
Yes, we talked there about Antoine Batout, who one of the players who came through the Toulouse academy. You could put together a very strong 15 of players who came through the Toulouse academy, didn't cut it at Toulouse, but have gone on to establish good careers elsewhere. There's a whole string of them.
Yeah, and what Toulouse do is actually bring them in young, recruit them, let them go elsewhere to get experience, because they can't get it in first experience, bring them back. And we've seen that with Johan Huguet, who went off to Bayonne and is back in Toulouse now after getting a couple of years ago. Reminds me when I was young, I worked in a pub, and they didn't have Splent, so they sent me up to the pub up the road to get a bit of experience, and then brought me back. And it's the same thing, kind of tactic that Toulouse use. They don't have capacity and give them what they need, and disappoint them time and time again by not getting picked in the first team. So they let them get that experience and then take them back.
Martin getting alongside me, the former Toulouse back row forward, Aidan McCullen. You were there, what, 2005, 2006? Tremendous experience.
Fabulous rugby, and you see the style of rugby there. You can see the glimpses of it from guys who've gone through the academy, like we saw with Antoine Batout. It's that live, and not having to actually engage and physically engage the opposition, but actually pull them out of their space and create space for players around them. And he's done that really, really well today. Great link playing by him. Even the switch off the kickoff earlier on, and it's fantastic to see.
Okay.
And as you say, a lot of players. I mean, Durand, he's been there as well, born in Toulouse.
Maxime Momos,
of course, and he's inside today. Fred Michalak.
So Toulon will be pretty happy to have got through that 10-minute period. The loss of only 3 points. Machinot to Wisniewski. Here's Estebanez, a bit of speed on the ball. Vakatawa. And Dylan Armitage straight into the action. Machinot, a change of direction here. There's Cronier. He was tackled by Sheridan. Wisniewski again. Good break from the fly half. But looking for support now. Tremendous work in defence again. Stefan Armitage, all in one movement. Straight back onto his feet. Machinot. Cronier. Ducalcon. Sobad just drifting across field. Germain, the offload. Oh, it didn't go to hand. But they've got the try. Antoine Batout, the man we were talking about, who I remember, I think it was his debut for Racing Metro 2 seasons ago when he scored a try down at Stade against the same opposition this time.
And it was Wisniewski, and we talked about Wisniewski did not try and get that pass away. He just set it up and started off again, and that was the key here. Here, settled the troops. Good distance and great hands here. Cronier, Ducalcon even played his part, and then just numbers in the end. Thought it broke down there, and Antoine Batout, right man, right place, and certainly deserves that for his performance today.
Yes, Antoine Batout, he covers the ground as well, doesn't he? It's a great line-out option. Perhaps lacks a little bit of physical bulk, But he's a very good ball player, himself in exactly the right place there. So once again, it is Gaëtan Germain. Wisniewski did it's a pretty straightforward attempt in the first half, and that was a straight block ride from Germain.
That didn't even sound right on the headphones. He just didn't capture that one at all. But Wisniewski, great break at the start here, and we talked about this. He dummy here, and throughout this game, and Johnny Wilkinson as well has been guilty, trying to give a pass that wasn't on. He didn't. He held his head, set up the ruck, created good fast ball, and then just numbers in the end. Now, great pass there, and Batu pick and score.
So 21 points to 13. 3 defeats last season against Toulon for Racing Metro. Half an hour to go here, and they are certainly in the perfect spot.
And in fairness to them, they've tried to play more today, and that for them there, we've seen the better tries have come from Racing today. The easier try has come from Toulon, but certainly the team trying to play more rugby today is the team who's leading this fixture.
2 changes to the Toulon. Jean-Charles Orioli is on for Sébastien Bruno. Simon Shaw has given way to Jocelyn Asuta. Van Niekerk with a little pop pass inside. Here's Durand. Wilkinson. Guiteau. Guiteau, the try scorer for Toulon in the first half. Just getting caught, it's turned to Calcon. Back to Wisniewski. It's Gunther. Is bearing down on him. But Gunther had to take that over. It'll be a 5-metre scrum.
That was some scene with Gunther running down there. But again, Wisniewski playing smart, not trying to play that ball, just put it down there, put all the pressure on the opposition. He did carry it over here. His feet had not crossed that line, and that's fantastic position for Racing.
Mathieu now, as he's able to confirm that. So it will be a 5-metre scrum. Racing put in.
No, Orioli will get a baptism of fire just off the bench, straight into this 5-metre scrum. Will he be the hero villain?
Flexion!
Still a long way short of victory, Racing Metro, but there'll be the sense that if they can make something happen here. What a shove there from the Toulon pack, and they've won themselves a penalty.
A little bit of balancing it out there after Andrew Sheridan getting a penalty earlier on. Very frustrating for backs when that'll happen, when you have a line, when you have a move teed up, and all of a sudden the scrum does not happen. Very, very frustrating.
What a contest it is on this side of the scrum. Luc Ducalcon, tie head first row, up against Andrew Sheridan. 2 of the most powerful scrummages in European rugby.
No Racing. Pressure, les gars, pressure.
So Jean-Charles Orioli. There he is, the replacement hooker. With the imminent arrival of Dion Fourie, he might well find himself down at number 3. It's untidy. Line-out ball.
Avantage en avant.
Van Niekerk it was who sealed it. And Suter straight into the action. Wilkinson does the hoovering up. Out to Stefan Armitage. He's caught by Ducalcon. Bucky's Bueta. The tackle from another South African, Van der Merwe. Wilkinson, Guiteau, missing out Bastereau, missing out Armitage. Palisson for the grubber. Well positioned though, Germain. Machinot out to Sobad. Oh, well positioned there, Stefan Armitage. Finds Wilkinson. Comes out of his 22. That's a poor kick. Chance for Wisniewski to counter here. Estebanez. His kick intercepted, and he had to say from both sides, the last couple of minutes rather untidy.
Very untidy, and even that kick, Johnny Wilkinson, he took an age to kick it. and he just seemed to have lost direction where he was going to put that one. And I thought Wisniewski would return it. It looked like good ball, but the pitch was covered, so there was no actually attacking advantage. And he should have just put it right back down there into the corners, because he's done that really, really well today.
You can see the wind blowing. Not as hard as it was on occasions in the first half. It's been a good first home fixture for that man there, Dmitry Sharjevsky. That didn't look particularly straight, but referee has no problem with it. Here's Matadigo. Little chip from Wisniewski. Bakatow is underneath it. He's got it. The offload to Chamoncy, who couldn't gather it high above his head.
It's just that last moment. It's just the pass too many. And all Bakatow, just hold on to it here. You've done the hard work. You've done the good work. Just hold on to this. Set up a ruck. No need for that. Hands in a bad position to get a pass away. Making it very, very hard to catch that ball. And they just need to get that out of it, eradicate that element from their play, and they'd be very, very successful. But great little chip by Wisniewski.
25 minutes to go at Toulon. Change of scrum half for Toulon. Sébastien Thiusbord.
Flexion. Touché.
Free kick to Racing Metro.
Qu'est-ce qu'on prend?
I can hear somebody crying for a scrum. Calls it melee. And it's been heard.
Quite harsh on Toulouse board being left out. I'm sure Bernard Laporte just exercising a bit of rotational policy. But he's had a fantastic season last season, Toulouse board, and he's been a great servant to Toulon. So I'm sure we'll see some fireworks from him in these closing moments of this game, last 25 minutes.
Control of the base by Cronier. Little foot in there, and then it's nudged forward. The hack forward from Thiusbord. First knock on there off the hand of a Racing Metro player, so it will be scrum. Toulon ball. There is Stefan Armitage.
Well seen by the ref there as well. The reason he didn't give the advantage was he said Stefan Armitage was ahead of the kicker, which he was a step ahead of them. So very, very, very good refereeing right up with the play.
So a change in the front row from Racing Metro. Julien Brugno has been replaced by Eddie Benarus. Pick up from Armitage. Oh, and the kick charged down. Well read by Machinot.
You see Stefan Armitage going into that number 8 slot we mentioned earlier on. Very, very good. Very powerful from that. He's got a really low center of gravity, so it's easier for him to get off the base of a scrum. And we saw some great tries from him straight from the base last year.
Just caught a glimpse there of Eddie Benarus, who represented France through the junior age groups. He's done the Racing Academy for the last 4 years, but now establishing himself regularly in the starting, not necessarily the starting 15, but certainly the 23. There it is for Matadigo. Change of direction. Batu scored the second try. Ducan with a chip ahead. That's impressive stuff from a tight head. Here's Dylan Armitage in space. Out to Palisson. Change of direction. He's got an electrifying pace as Palisson, but he was well read there by Sharjevsky. Thiusbord out to Giteau. There's Wilkinson, Armitage, Bastereau. Bastereau takes 2 men to get down. There's Giteau again. Referee playing advantage to Toulon. Thiusbord. Concern here for Racing Metro. Carl Heyman, 4 meters out. Referee still playing advantage. Not now. Comes back for the penalty. Quickly taken by Van Niekerk. To use board. Wilkinson. Long pass out. Great vision to Martin. Into Guiteau. And Guiteau gets a second.
Guiteau, surely the top scorer in France at these early stages. 2 tries today. And Van Niekerk thought he butchered it there. But great pass here by Johnny Wilkinson over the top. And Sobal, I think, it didn't stand a chance there. But that all came from Luc de Calcon's loose kick, where after fantastic work, Batut involved again. Nice pass over to Calcon, kicks down, aimless kick into the opposition territory, wide open pitch, and Talasson took advantage of it. And this is what you get. There's a great saying, Martin. Forwards should be the piano pushers and let the backs be the piano players. And Luc de Calcon played a very bad note on the piano there.
He certainly fluffed it, didn't he? The old ambition rather getting the better of him. Important kick this for Wilkinson. And time and again, those are the kicks he tends to make. Well, what a climax we've got at Toulon. Getting Jenkins is on for Toulon.
We said it earlier on, Martin, as well, that it'd be an interesting last 20 in this game, and it sure is. It's teed up. Looking forward to seeing how it unravels.
Wisniewski with the restart. Well taken by Jocelyn Suter, high above his head, basketball style. To use board. Looks for Paris on the chase, but there wasn't a name on it. A 1 point difference. Jenkins beat it up to Orioli. There's Heyman. Replacements in tandem. It's turned over. Machinot with the chip ahead. Back goes Wilkinson. Falls in it. Gets on his feet all in one movement. Did well there, the World Cup winner. And Tius Board finds touch.
That's very clever play, and fair play. Johnny Wilkinson still has that drive as he ever has. All he wanted to do was get outside that 22. And not good news to see Vakatawa there. He hasn't done much actually since his fantastic try. A couple of good runs in the first half, but haven't seen much of him. This always surprises me. Why not bring him in more into the play around the centres? Build plays around a player like that, because he's very, very hard to take down and he can create space for others. So bring him into the game more, create moves around him.
Look at the way that wind is blowing now. Very much in Racing Metro's favour. Cronier stands his ground up against a former Springbok teammate, Jeff Van Niekerk. Machinot. There's Matadigo. Wisniewski looks up, sees a bit of space.
Not a bad kick, but Cronier there, don't know what he's doing. Taking the ball, standing still like that. It's very hard to run onto a ruck created by a player that does that, because you're letting all the opposition come off the line, and that creates the momentum for the next carry. So the next ball carrier after a static carrier like that Cronier one is running into trouble all the time. And you saw it took until Benjamin Sa to make some ground to create an angle for Jonathan Wisniewski.
To use board, pumps it up high. Vakatawa now restored. Chevonsi. Armitage was covering that.
starting to play a little bit more clever rugby, playing the position a little bit more. Racing not overcooking it, doing the right thing. If it's not on, don't go for it. Don't put yourself under pressure.
The Toulon coaching staff over on the far side on the benches. Olivier Azam. He's the forwards coach, the former Gloucester hooker. A two-handed take from Suter.
La malle, c'est le même malle. C'est le même malle.
Penalty to Toulon.
C'est bon, monsieur.
Pierre Mignoni just barking one or two instructions as well, the former Toulon scrum half.
Bayon. Racing on this occasion choosing to stay on the ground and not compete in the line-out, and then giving away the penalty. And Toulon being patient. And I thought maybe Stefan Orange has had a chance to break away off the back of that. A little gap opened up for him, but they'd be happy with the position and to keep possession.
15 minutes to go. 1 point separates the sides. Jenkins pops it up there to Van Niekerk. Well, it's loose and it's turned, but it's a penalty against Racing Metro.
That looked harsh. Bad placement by Van Niekerk. Lazy placement. And that looked a little bit harsh for Racing.
Well, we were told that Freddie Michelet will be doing the water boy duties. It is in fact Gilles Panzani wearing all the black and the black shorts. He's an ever-present member of the Toulon backup staff.
Devon got great value for money from that water boy today. Getting a little bit chilly here with the wind. And not as much need for water as you would have on a hot day.
Well, that's a very pronounced forward tilt, isn't it, from Wilkinson there, and that does rather suggest that he's perhaps looking to keep this low, a more penetrative flight into the wind. Conditions certainly not in his favour. "14 minutes remain, and Wilkinson, well, that ball was moving all over the place, and in the end it also fell short. And then misjudged by TU's board. Wisniewski with the clearance.
How good is that? And the mental Wilkinson kick into it, because it's slowed up despite that low trajectory, to the Wisniewski kick back. Fantastic kick.
Well, Toulon had a home tie against Racing in the barrage round last year, so only just missing out on a top 4 finish, or should I say a top 2 finish. And they did it with only 3 away wins. Here was one of them. There you can see directly into touch. Toulon's wins up here at Toulon, and then later in the season at Bordeaux-Bègles and at Lyon.
Ok, on fera une mêlée à 15 mètres alors. Vous pouvez choisir? Vous choisissez
Well,
quoi?
there's some controversy over that, isn't there?
Attendez, ils ont le choix.
See, his foot is in play when he actually catches it. He needs that other foot.
He's taken that in.
But he's still in play there. He got his foot position wrong there.
Flexion!
In very simple terms, if you're watching this, he basically has to have both feet or one foot out of play and the other foot on the ground there, and it was still in the air, wasn't it?
Capitaine Bleu.
Well, the referee wants to speak to the Racing
Ah, c'est
captain.
bon, monsieur le capitaine, ça suffit. Le droitier à l'impact, pas de liaison. J'ai déjà pénalisé votre droitier, mais il est sorti 2 fois ici. Une fois là, la prochaine, c'est carton jaune. OK?
Well, next time, it's a yellow card. That's the warning from Mathieu
c'est
Renard.
So he's saying that he's already penalised Getson Jenkins' predecessor here, and that he's since exited the pitch, and that the next one's going to be a yellow card if they seize that tactic again. It's obviously a tactic that Racing, the referee, does not like it.
No!
Lafratello just running into Alexis Palisson. That was quite a collision. There's Benarous, Machinot, Wisniewski, Estebanez, Gaëtan Germain, injecting a bit of pace and also a good running line. There's Benjamin Sarr, big powerful scrummager. Penalty against Racing. Benjamin Sarr is penalised.
Déblayage non efficace, le joueur peut la jouer.
Really bad ball placement on the cleaner there. In this case, the centre's not doing their work. And that man, look who it is, Stefan Armitage, causing all the havoc again. Surprisingly bad carry by Sarr there. He's usually quite good, and that's why the leg drive becomes so important, to get those extra few yards that creates a good opportunity for the ruckers to come in and ruck out that ruck. And in this case, Stefan Armitage got his hands on the ball.
So a few moments pause while Armitage is patched up.
Ok, bah alors on continue à jouer.
2 tries apiece.
Reprise.
Both sides winners on the road last week. Toulon at Perpignan, Racing Metro at Agen. How important it would be for 2 out of 2, and I think for Toulon, what a way it would be to get their season underway. 2 away wins. Patchings for Stefan Armitage. Inside the last 10 minutes. Jean-Charles Orioli goes to the middle of the line, and it's stolen. Great work from Antoine Batoun. Machinot with a clearance. Look at that, flew on the wind.
It's great timing to have that wind, isn't it, behind you? It really does send it down there. And Toulon have adopted an interesting tactic with Toulouse Sport, putting up those high box kicks, because they're going to hold in the air. So he's giving them lots and lots of length, but they're not going that far because that strong wind is resisting the ball and holding it up there in the air. And we've seen it causing all types of problems for Racing.
It's certainly picking up again, isn't it? Look at the way the wind is blowing through the flag there of the assistant referee. Well, that looked to me as if it was taken into the 22. Gaëtan Germain. Well, he's gone directly for touch. It's a very close call. And Jean-Charles Orioli, he believes that it was taken in, and that is the judgment of the referee.
And in fairness, he said it, the referee shouted out to the players. He said, you brought it in. And of course, what that means is that it's a line out all the way back for Toulon.
It's a 50-metre call, isn't it?
Silly mistake at this stage in the game. Look where they are. A lot of pressure, 1-point game.
Reprise. C'est bon, c'est bon.
Change at hooker from Racing. Benjamin Noirot comes on for Shanchevski. One France international for another. TU Sport. There it is again. TU Sport has it. Orioli. There's the pick up and drive, that time coming from Gunther. TU Sport again. Wilkinson through one tackle, pops it onto Palisson. Here's Bastereau, the space, Guiteau. TU Sport that time popping it out. The fly out comes in, back goes Wilkinson. Change of direction, here's Dylan Armitage. Armitage has got Van Niekerk. Here's the captain, inside the 22. What a climax. 7.5 minutes to go at Toulon. 1 point separates the sides. Carl Heyman. Gitto, 2 tries already. Upended. Pick up and drive from Dylan Armitage that time. Here's Bakis Bourta. Gitto. Stefan Armitage. Bouncing off Chamonti, still going Armitage. 5 minutes out. There's Van Niekerk being spun round. That time from Jocelyn Asuta. It will be a scrum, Toulon ball. 6 minutes remain.
Fantastic sequence of play. And didn't we say, Martin, that all the work Racing had to put in for those tries in the first half would pay dividends in the second half for Toulon, because they were working so hard for the return they got compared to Toulon's. And at Toulon in these last closing minutes seemed to have that little bit more energy in the legs. And Stefan Armitage causing all kind of havoc for Racing. Right man in the right place and almost getting over the line.
Well, 7 months or so before we get to the playoffs, but it is a crucial phase in the season. Racing worked so hard to get that away win last week at Agen. Lose here, that good work will have been undone. Toulon, winners away from home at Perpignan. Now, can they make it 2 out of 2 on the road? It would set things up superbly for Toulon. They can plan their season, knowing they've got away wins in the bag. They're so difficult to beat at Stade Mayol.
You really have to hold their head in this situation. The winning and losing of the game is right here. Kazeda, the Racing coach, said during the week that this game, the outcome of this game will tell them where they really are. They felt the Agen game, they didn't really play, they showed some weaknesses, but today will tell them where they really are, where they stand.
The clock ticking closer and closer to 75 minutes. They've got themselves a penalty of Toulon, and now they have to take the 3 points. And in the end, it's the sheer might of that front 5 who've worked themselves to what will almost certainly be 3 points.
Could see a card here, he said it.
He's going to his pocket, isn't he? Eddie Benarous. And now Racing, but they're going to concede 3 points. And they will play the rest of the game with just 14 men.
And he said it, and he warned them, and he's actually, after saying it there again, he said, I told you. I had said many times earlier on that Ducalcon was threatened with a yellow card. Then he said it in the last scrum, way back down on the Toulon 22. And he's held true to his word and pulled the card.
And look at the way the uprights are tilting in the wind. Head down. Drive hard through the base of the ball with the left foot. Wilkinson takes Toulon into the lead.
And it's that work we talked about, the defence at the end. We said Racing worked very hard throughout this game, that it might pay dividends for Toulon in the edges. And we've seen that they've defended, and now they find themselves 2 points behind in the closing 5 minutes.
Well, Julian Guigno is going to have to warm himself up for Racing Metro, because the first time we have a scrum, he's going to be back on. Here comes the change. Benjamin Dombiel is on. Good work from Thieu's board. One or two people on this side thought maybe the heels were on the line. Misjudged there by Jacques Grenier.
Bad mistake there by Grenier. Look at the pressure he's put his team under now.
Dombiel being Estebanez. That was Fabrice Metz, the young lock forward. Dombiel onto Grenier. Racing with 3.5 minutes to save the day. Big hit there from Bertrand Metz. Dombiel, Estebanez, Chavancy, chance for Soban, he's been unleashed. Great tackle though from the captain, Van Niekerk.
Really was a captain's tackle. I don't know if he actually got him, but we're in for a great finale here. It's Racing ball. Just get position here, get yourself and keep possession is key here. And bleed a penalty out of the opposition. Just keep possession, keep going, pumping your legs when you get in contact. Good ball placement is key in these situations, and try and get that penalty.
No, didn't look straight. Not according to my eye. Not according to the eye of Mathieu Reynal either.
And they let themselves down with the simplest of tasks. Getting the ball into the line-out. Absolutely criminal. Noiro. Talk about giving all the advantage back to Strzelecki. These two guys going to be competing for the entire season. And Noiro's most important throw, he fluffs it.
Another change at half-back coming from Racing Metro, Mathieu Bailly. Talking about players who started their careers off at Toulouse, he's another one. Having made the move in the summer though from Brive, there is Jackie Lorenzetti. He writes the checks for Racing Metro. He's been through rather more lows than highs in recent times.
Come on, go!
Flexion!
And this in danger of being the first significant low of the new season. There's Thieu's board. The clock says we've got 2 minutes remaining. The youngster Vincent Martin. Thieu's board again. He's in no hurry. The kick's charged down. Metz has got it. Back to Brugnot. Bailly to Dombiel. There's Chavancy just bumping off the opposition. Well, the kick, and that was surely the wrong option, and it was definitely a poor execution.
Why, oh why did he kick it? 2 minutes to go to win the game. Going for a win, kick the ball away. I think it was Gito.
I think that's Alexis Palisson, isn't it, who's down?
Reculez,
He
monsieur,
is.
reculez. Messieurs, reculez, s'il vous plaît.
That doesn't look good, Martin.
Le temps est arrêté, hein?
Trying to open the mouth because sometimes that jams shut. Make sure he doesn't swallow his tongue is key here, but he just flew up and got absolutely smashed.
Well, this is a worrying sight. In the last 2 minutes of the match, Alexis Palisson feeling the force here, trying to tackle Henri Chavancy.
That's where he got the impact. It's right there on the cheek, just on the jaw. Very brave by Palisson, coming right up, but look at that, right on the jaw. And he can get quite an instant concussion from that one. We might not see him for 3 weeks now. Mandatory time off to recover.
And concern being shown by Henri Chavancy, who was the other half of that collision. Fabrice Estebanez concerned about his former Brive teammate as well.
Fais rentrer le joueur aussi, il va sortir.
It's good to see the spirit here of togetherness in rugby. Chavancy, who was involved in the collision, and Fabrice Estebanez, who was a colleague for so long down at Brive. See Palisson still down.
And break all the momentum as well that the Racing were building for this finale. Couple of minutes to go. and it's really like setting up a starter play. And I don't know what he'll come back to. Will he come back to the fact that it was a kick straight out and there's a line out here? Because that'll be a Toulon ball, and surely they'll just keep the ball and while down the clock. And Racing had it for the taking. That first half where they expended so much energy trying to go through phases after phases instead of just kicking the ball has cost them dearly in the second half, and particularly for that last try, because in defence they were very, very tired, and they eventually ran out of players and gave away the penalty and all the advantage to Toulon.
And as you would expect, all necessary care being taken here with Alexis Pélisson. As Matt Guiteau comes over to Olivier Azam to get one or two instructions.
Just stay there.
And we do stress, certainly at this stage, the neck brace there purely on as a precaution. Certainly for Toulon, it is a sad end to what is almost certainly going to be a very good afternoon for them. And there you can see Fabrice Estebanez just consoling Henri Chavancy. There is Pierre Babizier. Last season, of course, he was the head coach, but now he is the sporting director of the club. He's been taken away from day-to-day contact with the team, and certainly good to see that from Chavancy and Estebanez.
No player likes to see that. Playing goodwill.
On attend, hein. J'ai pas dit reprise du jeu encore. Hein. On attend. Ben, je sifflerai. Ouais.
He'll be mandatory now. 3 weeks he'll have to take off.
Reprise.
Go through all concussion tests that are mandatory for players these days. You take a precognition test in rugby to make sure your concussion isn't too bad.
So the final 90 seconds. Here comes Armitage on the halfway line. Racing Metro has to get possession, and they've got it. One last opportunity. There's Chavancy, Germain. The tackle from Guiteau.
Hey, Rack!
Gambiel feeds Vakatawa. Vakatawa, who we haven't seen much of since that moment of sublime brilliance which brought the try. Noiro. But Racing are pinned back in their own half. There's Benjamin Sarr, pops it over the top to Vakatawa. Surrounded by red and black jerseys, but the referee's blown his whistle. The pass has gone forward, and that surely now is it.
Why didn't they go the same way that you need to play same way rugby to create space? And they're inside their own half, so they're not going for a penalty in this case. Yes, there's a strong win, and Wisniewski's well capable of clocking one over. But keep going the same way. That's where you create the space, and they were going one side then the other, and that's very easy for the side to defend. And surely this last 30 minutes will be just too long, whiling down that clock.
So delight for the Toulon bench. The familiar faces there, the likes of Olivier Azam and Pierre Mignoni. Also in the middle there, Jean-Pierre Darnaud, who's the chiropractor and osteopath, who came down to Toulon a couple of years ago from Clermont-Auvergne. He's a man who the players swear by. You'll always see him on the bench.
Flexion. Touché. Je. On la remet.
Well, one solid scrum, and then simply to use board into touch, and that will be it. It'll be a second straight win on the road for Toulon. What a way to start the season. And if you think they recorded just 3 away wins during the league phase last season, and it gave them a 3rd place finish. There it is. Sebastian Tio's forward, side kicks it into touch, and that is the end of the match. And Toulon have recorded their 2nd straight away win. What a start to their top 14 campaign. They've beaten Racing Metro by 23 points to 21.